Hello, I'm Jen. Welcome to this video where I explain my experience of week 10 of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. In this video, I will explain my take on the readings, then a little bit about the tasks, and finally how I'm feeling about moving into the 11th week of this whole 12-week long journey. I laugh because this is not a 12-week journey for me in particular. This is maybe 25-week journeys, but whatever time is an illusion and nothing is real. So let's get into the reading takeaways. The first section of this chapter is called Dangers of the Trail. She digs deep into the topic of blocks, vices, addictions. She really doesn't hold back in this chapter explaining all the ways in which a person could potentially block themselves. She says, every creative person has a myriad of ways to block creativity. Each of us favors one or two ways particularly toxic to us because they block us so effectively. And if you remember from last chapter, she was explaining that you're not lazy, you're not procrastinating, you are blocked, and you're blocked because you're scared. So think of yourself as a little kid and try to be nicer to yourself, because once that fear goes away, then you create space to effectively play and create with a sense of play. When I first moved to Prague, and I was working at random jobs, waitressing, cafe, selling jewelry, little internship, just random things. I was doing that because I was in this fear-based mindset. Oh my goodness, I need to pay my rent next month. How am I gonna do it? I guess I gotta get this job that I hate, that destroys my body. I didn't allow myself to step back and ask, hey Jen, do we deserve more? Do we deserve a better job? Do we deserve a job with benefits? Do we deserve to actually work on a contract and be protected as employees? I didn't ask myself any of that. I was so impulsive because I was so stressed, which is valid. I had every right to be stressed, and I don't negate what I did back then because I succeeded in paying my rent and I did what I needed to do. But looking back at the person I used to be and the person I am now, I'm really grateful for my growth. And the reason why this is relevant is because for many, work is the block of choice. Busy, 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 they grab for tasks to numb themselves with. They can't take a half-hour's walk. What a waste of time. This just reminded me of myself in that first year. I didn't even enjoy moving abroad because I was filling my time up with so much stuff constantly that I was considering more important than just enjoying myself, being present. I was always saying, I have work, I have to work all weekend, and just kind of hoping for that validation for somebody to be like, oh my goodness, you poor thing, you're such a star, you're so strong, and none of that really means anything. I was keeping myself in this like weird, unworthy, lack mindset space. I don't really know exactly. I'm just gonna keep going. These are things that came to my mind as I was reading this chapter. She asks the reader, has workaholism sabotaged me? And I feel like, yes, it most definitely has. This quote was a major throwback to last chapter. She says, the object of all of this blocking is to alleviate fear. We turn to our drug of choice to block our creativity whenever we experience the anxiety of our inner emptiness. When I had time outside of work, I was so sour about my life situation that I wasn't in a place to create. So all I felt was that inner emptiness that she's referring to, that fear, that anxiety. And so yes, I did turn to blocks. I was smoking cigarettes at the time, which is crazy because I'm a singer, doesn't really work for me. And also drinking alcohol and going out with friends. Instead of sitting in my apartment and creating as I do now, I was really just blocking out any fear that I had because I was so scared to change my situation. I said, well, this is how I've been paying my bills ever since I moved to Prague. Is this just the way it's supposed to be for me? Am I supposed to just work this hard all the time? I actually think I have a clip of me saying that. This is a really hard week and there's a lot of things to do. Financially, I'm drained. Emotionally, I'm drained. Physically, I'm just sick. I've been sick for 3 months. A new thing every week. Why is it worth it? Please find the reason. We used to be like talented and happy and creative and... Now being in my 6th semester and having lived in Prague for almost 3 years, wow, it's really interesting to look back at those videos. I'm editing now. I just want to share that I am okay, and I've overcome that period, and I'm so very proud of the version of myself that was in that video for overcoming, and I have so much love for her. It's just so interesting the way I spoke back then, how I complained so much, which I was valid. I was miserable, but that's just not the way I talk about my circumstances anymore at all, and because of that, my circumstances reflect it. So I think it's just amazing to see how far I've come, and it gives me hope for my own future to see, hey, if I've done that in less than 2 years, then what's next? The next section is called workaholism. Julia says, workaholism is an addiction, and like all addictions, it blocks creative energy. The phrase, I'm working, has a certain unassailable air of goodness and duty to it. The truth is, we are very often working to avoid ourselves, our spouses, our real feelings. The reason why I was subconsciously overworking myself in that first year of Prague was to stay the victim of the broke mindset, if that makes sense. If I'm being so honest right now. I think I just really wanted to be a victim. It did nothing. It just did nothing. One way to achieve clarity about our time expenditures is to keep a daily checklist and record our time spent. Even an hour of creative work or play can go a long way toward offsetting the sense of workaholic desperation that keeps our dreams at bay. This section lit a fire under my butt. 1 hour of creative play a day. I can do that. I can fit that in. I sat on my floor in front of my altar. I put on incense. I did amazing lighting. And I just tuned in. What does my inner child want to play with right now? What exactly do I want to work on? I grabbed some voice memos, I grabbed some lyrics, and I just started playing around in this free music making software. And I had the best time ever. The next day, so excited for my creative hour of play. That 1 hour of creative play turns into 6 hours of creative play, and I'm just completely in flow. My phone, do not disturb across the room. Nothing exists outside of me, my inner child, my inner artist, and the universe, and it was just so magical and amazing. And I'm so grateful for this week. I'm so grateful that I'm back on this Artist Way wagon. Wow. I just felt this fire in my belly this week because of committing to these hours of play. There were no rules, there were no restrictions, no boundaries, there were no expectations of what I had to have created by the end of the hour. It was just, hey, let's play. And play I did. The next section of the reading is called Drought. The inner workings of an artist's brain are complex, just as the earth, and the earth has its seasons. And she says, in any creative life, there are dry seasons. These are times when the morning pages are most difficult and most valuable. She's talking about drought. She's talking about when there's nothing in your brain besides fart, fart, fart. There is nothing, not even a wind blowing. I mean, it's just a wasteland. Morning pages will get you through. Speaking of morning pages, my second journal is now full. Goodbye, second journal. So great, so much good stuff in here. And now this is my new one. It's got a cow on it because one day I'm gonna have a farm. And so this cow makes me really happy. For all creative beings, the morning pages are the lifeline, the trail we explore and the trail home to ourselves. We have doubted, yes, but we have stumbled on, even through the drought. When you reach a drought, you can't just be like, oh, I guess I'm done being an artist now. It's not my truth anymore. No, it's still your truth. You're just having a dry season. Keep going. Keep trekking through the desert because you will come across something new. You'll get to a new biome. You'll get to a new trailhead. You'll find your way. The next section of the reading is called Fame. Basically, she's like, if you're doing this for fame, get out of here. Don't do that. Pretty simple. Fame is not the same as success, and in our true souls, we know that. I love that she says fame is really a shortcut for self-approval. Because, again, you're just on that validation-seeking, feedback loop where it's never going to be enough unless you give yourself that validation first. That's a toughie. The next section is competition. Competition is a nasty thing because it automatically takes away the sparkle from everything, from you, from your competitor, from the work that both of you are doing. It's gross, it's unnecessary. We don't need to compete as a society anymore. We are so bountiful in our resources. Everything is so accessible, and why are we still competing? What? The desire to be better than can choke off the simple desire to be. Then she explains each artist as a country with their own origin, with their own language, with their own culture. But different countries are going to mix a little bit in ways that they have maybe the same family of languages, maybe the same family of color palettes. And I just think that was so cute and so beautiful. That is all for the reading. Now we will jump to the tasks. I did a workaholism quiz, a task called The Deadlies, where you make a list of alcohol, drugs, sex, work, money, food, family/friends, and you write 5 ways in which each of these things has negatively affected you and has taken you off your path to creativity. Touchstones was another task. Very cute. Write down things you like. Write down things that make you smile. Have the list, come back to it whenever you need a reminder of why you want to be on this earth. I wrote tigers, little Jen pictures, the 6 Tiny Desk concert, dark chocolate, ice cream, new books, Brittany Broski videos, phone calls with my mom and dad, Heather's baked goods, my meals, sunsets, rescue farms, earrings, colorful pants, jackets, and scarves. All these things make me happy. All these things make me smile. Then there was a task called The Awful Truth that asked you some pretty intense questions about your vices, about how you destroy yourself, about how people in your life and around you can be destructive. Very interesting task. And that wraps up the tasks. Overall, I am feeling so happy to be moving on to week 11, to be back on the wagon, to be having a good time. I'm excited to continue on in the Artist Way journey. I'm loving it. I really feel empowered and I'm making things. Finally, it's week 10 and I feel like I'm finally making things. And that is all for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful for your time and I will see you later.